Hey everybody, it's good to see you all again. This segment is just to kind of let you guys know what is going on in this episode. So, in this episode, there is a situation. Towards the end, or anywhere in this episode, there is a blank. That means there's no sound coming in the episode, and you might think that is your fault. That is my fault. You can blame me, say it was my fault, because that is an editing problem, and that's because of recording and the recording platform that I use. If that happens to be in the episode, if that's in it, what you need to do is to just disregard it. Don't worry about it. Consider it like an ad break. Consider it like a break. Consider it like we're taking a 5 minute break. Consider it like that. So, no freaking out. No need to worry. Make sure you guys enjoy the episode, enjoy what's in it, and y'all have a good one. And enjoy this one. Really enjoy it and have fun. And please disregard the blanks in there, consider them breaks. Hope you guys enjoy this episode and thank you guys for understanding and for your cooperation. I have to do this. Yep. Oh, yes. He finally got. Hi, guys. As you guys see, I'm in a very good mood, guys. Great news. And no, if you're asking about recording music, I'm not recording music anytime soon. Just like little Chip or Lana was thinking. Sorry, not gonna happen. But I am here with Chris. He is from a two-person band called Copperstone. We are so excited to have you aboard. I just wanted to address myself that I've listened to you guys for a little while. I started listening to you guys I think, yeah, since Sunday. I've been listening to you guys non-stop, and you guys have been so amazing. I'm so excited to have you guys with us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on, and we're excited to be here. That you're excited about the tracks. So, thrilled that you've been enjoying them.
Oh yes, yes. And I check out everybody, but yours was extraordinary to listen to. So props to you for, your music and your whole method, your whole music career. Props to that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. It's a lot of time and effort and energy, and a lot of things that I'd say as you listen to the tracks, as I'm sure you've heard, a lot of just pent up things that come out in the music from the past year and a half of what we've been all experiencing worldwide, right? So it's been a very fortunate outlet for us, a very creative, fortunate outlet. So just it's kind of a cherry on top that we get to share it with listeners such as yourself and great people such as yourself. So thank you again.
Yes, of course, of course. And dude, I feel you. I feel you. I'm a songwriter too, so I feel you 100%. And I'm with y'all. I've dealt the same thing as well. So yeah. Um, but excuse me. Since you're a band, everybody should know that I love bands. I've listened to bands since I was 5. I absolutely love bands, so I want to jump right into this. Now, since you're the one from your band, you're the leader of the band, I'm gonna ask you the
Mhm.
big questions about your not much though. Like a duh question, like how did the band start? Like why did it start? Like tell me the complete origin story of Copperstone. I was about to say corner. You guys felt me. I was about to say corner, but I said yep. I was gonna say corner, but I Copper Stone. But tell me the origin.
Well, that's actually funny you say that because one of the names, as we started to put a name to this project here, was Cornerstone. That was the front runner to be the name. So, yeah, your instincts are right on that. And I think it came from a little bit of why we've ultimately decided against it was I was listening to just kind of one of our influences a little bit there is Arctic Monkeys, and they've got a great track called Cornerstone that I find myself listening to probably more than I should, but it's if I think that was kind of the thing saying, I just feel like I'm doing I'm ripping off the song name if we were to name this band Cornerstone. So, how we kind of came up with it was just throwing out names and everything, and suddenly Copperstone was one that rung true, and we said, hey, let's call it that. So that's funny you say that. But kind of diving into it a little bit here, so you and all the listeners here can understand a little bit of our background is myself, Chris, as well as our lead guitarist, Brian Taylor, who unfortunately couldn't be joining us here today, is started as we dub ourselves a virtual collaboration, of alternative / maybe some pop rock. And why we call it that is we're based in different states here in the U.S. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Brian's back from where I'm originally from, down in the Virginia area. So, we do a lot of, we've been playing in bands over years. We've been playing a lot together. We've always been very fortunate to have each other as not only friends, but, musicians to share and bounce ideas off of, which, I think can be, is a good thing when you find that, that musical soulmate, if you will, right? So as a singer-songwriter, you understand that. But, so for, as we've been in and out of bands and progressed through life, we've gone, life has kind of, you get lost in careers and families and things like that. So, having Brian to bounce song ideas off of whenever we'd find time to play back and forth is something that we made sure to try to find time to do over the years. And, the virtual aspect of that is we would record it on GarageBand or something simple on our phones, and then just kind of email it back and forth, add little pieces, and have some kind of hobby songs going on. So, as I mentioned earlier, when we talk about the fortunate pieces of, this pandemic that we're still in, is, the silver lining is it kind of forced us to get our act together a little bit, right? So we looked at it and said, hey, we've got this book of songs, probably half dozen, if not 24 songs that, that we've got put together, that we've got somewhat fairly polished. So why not get the band back together in the corny proverbial sense, right? So, that's kind of how we came to be. So, through all of that, through what has been, a little bit of a hobby and a little bit of a creative outlet, right? So through, the things that we face day in and day out, is, how Copperstone was born. And it's just kind of cascaded from there with, how our tracks have been well received and how we've gotten back, kind of into the music industry, as I mentioned, from playing previously. So it's been a fun journey so far, and it's kind of the background of how we came to be.
Oh wow. And it's crazy you guys are from different places and yet you guys are still able to, manage everything. Like, wow, like that's amazing. I just wanted to point that out because that's amazing. Those are two distinctly different states, and we're actually forming a triangle because I'm right down here in Texas, so it's like a big old circle triangle.
100%. Yep. So it's been the wonders of technology, I suppose, that allows us, we actually did an interview with another blog and, highlighted that because, we referenced that back in the day. So as, I say back in the day, almost, as little as 10 to 15 years ago, bands were still sending tapes back and forth through snail mail, right, to add tracks to or whatever it may be. So, we've come a long way from that in a short period of time, which is fortunate, and it's led to just this blossoming of music that's out everywhere, right? And there's so much talent out in the world, and it's such a great conduit that all that talent and all these songs and everything get filtered down to to us, right? So we get to not only make music, but we get to experience so many other great singer-songwriters out there.
Oh yes, definitely. And no matter what, you guys built a connection and you guys have great chemistry. I mean, that's like overall Copperstone is like I can really define it as like perfect. It's like perfect connection almost, and the mix of genres too. It's like diversity and creativity all mixed and blend. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely a reflection of the influences of how, we came to be from, going to our first rock and roll concerts, from, that late 90s, early 2000s alternative rock genre and guys, that are even still playing today, right? So like ranging from Chili Peppers to Third Eye Blind to those guys, I think you can definitely hear those influences in our music, and we've kind of stayed true to what brought us into the industry and what made us so passionate about it.
Yes, yes. You guys have strong passion, I can tell from the songs you guys have been making, like that shows how much passion and love you guys have, for each other and also for your music. It's reflection.
100%.
Oh yes. And I'm glad that you told me a little background. I was interested to know Copper, and I'm glad that I was on point. Sure. I guess because when they hear about your name, they're gonna think you guys Cornerstone or you guys corner store like like they gotta think those.
No, it's definitely something, so both Brian and I are also, fairly avid outdoorsy type people too. So, as we look at this, you have to wonder, it may have come from stones, nature, copper elements, things like that, seeing stuff just out on hikes or whatever it may be. It all influenced down. And I think you see it in our logo too, just kind of those earthy tones. So yeah, it's definitely as you get to know us and you look and you listen to our music, you can hear, all the influences from our life. So we definitely wear it on our sleeve for sure.
Yes, and I've noticed that too. I've noticed your logo has a very kind of earth spacey one, but a spacey theme, but also it it has the copper color and it has the copper penny kind of feel. So it's like warm, comforting, and very useful.
Yeah, and we went through a lot of different iterations when we came up with the logo here too. So we were very fortunate to work with somebody in a number of capacities. I'll give a shout out to Taylor Lee Photography, who's based out of Virginia. She does a lot of our band photos and photo shoots and things like that, but also logo design. So, she was pretty instrumental in helping us come up with the logo. So, shout out and props to her. So, that's any chance I get to do a small plug, as you'll probably hear a number of them over the next half hour or so. So it's there's number one.
That's amazing. Congrats you. Congrats. Congrats. Thanks for making a logo. Props. I love it. I love it. Um, but enough with the band. I appreciate the origin. I do. I'm getting to learn more as time goes by. But of course, we can't forget our own guests ourselves. Ourselves. You know what? I'm stuttering. We can't forget the guest right now. So I want to know deeply from you how to get interested in music. Why are you interested in music at all? Like, what about your origin in music?
Yeah, I think it's similar along the lines of probably how a lot of musicians start. Is I had always had a strong desire to learn how to play guitar or piano or just the various instruments I've come to learn to play over the years. But the culmination of it all came, if I had to pinpoint it, back to uh, probably a while ago to see one of probably the first stadium concert I went to. There was a radio station back in Virginia that put on a large festival that had tons of great bands come and play once a year. And I remember sitting there, and we're talking lineup of the top bands, top rock bands from the late '90s of everybody from Chili Peppers to STP to Rage Against the Machine to Fuel, Sum 41, Blink 182, and the lineup just went all day long like that, and it was just this massive, massive undertaking. So we're a teenager at the time, looking around, just kind of feeling the energy and looking at these guys and girls jumping around on stage and is having the time of their life. And I remember thinking just like, hey, this is I want that. I want to do that. This looks like too much fun. Is so as you come to know myself or the band as well, is we're all about fun, right? So you have to have fun in everything you're doing. And what's more fun than you know belting out tunes and banging on guitars and jumping around and having fun and fun just right, which is exactly what festivals are and are so on and so forth. So as I looked at I'm looking at these guys jumping around on stage. I'm looking at just the energy and saying, all right, I got to be a part of this. So I remember going home the next day and getting my first. I started out on the bass guitar as a path to learn how to play guitar. And it was I remember starting that next day saying, okay, let's just start learning off everybody I could, is asking people, hey, how do you do this, how do you do this, and just starting that process of getting to become intimate with various instruments and being a musician.
Oh, wow, wow. You guys saw with your interest, you developed that interest, and because of help, now you're like a now you're part of this band. Like, wow, like that's very interesting to take in. Like y'all, let's take this in. Like, just take in the little bits you guys heard. Like to me, that's like very extraordinary and very like genius too, in a way.
Yeah, oh, thank you. I think there was some help from
And like a
some
very
alcohol at that point too.
oh my god. But seriously, seriously, I'm glad you chose the path of musicians. We always need plenty of them. And as you can tell in the real world, musicians are dealing with a lot of shit, you know.
Yeah, the game has certainly changed. So, part of our background here is we've been very fortunate, as I mentioned, being in different bands, through high school and college and afterwards to play from everything from those stadiums to small bookstores to everything in between, right? And as a musician, it definitely is a grind. So, when the early days of trying to go full force has it's you found yourself you're begging every club owner or any bar, anybody, just, hey, can my band come in here and play, right? So there's definitely a different aspect to that, when compared to today. So today, as I mentioned, we're kind of relearning the music industry because streaming and Spotify and online platforms have really changed the game in terms of how and who gets heard, who gets promoted, who gets found, and things like that, which is almost to the point that as we look at the struggles of musicians today, there's just so much saturation in the market because for $100 anybody can record a song and throw it up on a streaming platform, right? So there's so much content out there to sift through that it's definitely a changed environment and a changed world compared to when we first came into it.
Yes, yes, definitely. And it keeps developing and evolving and it never really stays the same and you keep learning.
Well, that's it. You hit it right on the head. Is and anything you do is you constant evolving and constant learning is what's going to make you successful, right? And adapting, being adaptable, being flexible, things like that, right? So, if we were probably still going through and under the old techniques we were to try to get our music heard, that we did a long time ago, we probably would be falling flat on our faces, right? So, it's understanding how the game's changed and how people view it is essential.
Yes, that couldn't be any more true. You got it right there. You got it.
But still, the I don't want that to sound negative because the thing is with how the music industry has evolved and how it has changed, it does let that talent, it does create that conduit for the talent to be heard. So, for every 100 hobby musicians throwing music up on any streaming platforms, you've got the one, diamond in the rough who's doing this, using the same methods, but is just letting that natural talent out and blowing everybody away with it, right? So it's, which, you couple that with a little bit of basic marketing, and those people can make a career out of being a musician, right?
Very, very, very true. And experiences as a songwriter, I have definitely lived that kind of life, and I've heard and I've experienced those things myself. So it's like it's like a page out of my storybook almost.
Well, so you understand exactly as being out there, and musicians just relentless promoting is that has never changed, I will say, and probably will never change. If you want to be heard, then you've got to do the proverbial handing CDs out at bookstores or whatever it may be, saying listen to my music. So
hmm Yeah, and if you don't get a fan base, if you don't get people listening, how can you really be a musician if you're not even gonna be open? How can you be a musician if you're not open?
yeah, 100%, and supportive, right? So that's another thing that we try to be, which is exactly the same thing. You're doing is supporting other musicians too. So, I think there's been a long time, kind of a misnomer here on, this industry that, it's either me or you, right? It's, and honestly, that's not what music's about. Music's about, everybody, right? So, the more we lift each other up is the more we all succeed, and the better this industry does as a whole, right? So, I know that's, you see it on in news and all of that, social spats and things like that, but it's, you know, embracing that philosophy really, not only helps lift this industry up, but then grows your own brand as well. So you're exactly right, as you alluded to that.
Yes, yes. Man, you're on fire.
Well, hey, you get me talking about music, I'll sit here. We can turn this into an 8-hour podcast if you want.
Oh no, hell no. Nobody's gonna watch 8 hours. No. Mm.
Right.
I'm not sitting here for 8 hours. No, that's not happening. That's the one thing that will never happen is 8 hours. I could do 1, 2 hours maybe, but I will never do eight. Nope, you'll never catch me. Oh,
I wouldn't do that to you.
oh no, I know. I know. I know. No worries, I know. And speaking of knowing, I'd love to get on to um actually before that, I wanna ask a question because this is gonna be one of the showcase songs actually. Your charity single. Now, I know you guys are very supportive. That's why I wanted to dive into this. Your charity single. Now, I know you've been bugging me about wanting to talk about it. Also, you just want to get the fans going about it. So, I know you don't want to tell us much because it's also that's we want to keep it secretive and a surprise. So, what can you tell us about the charity single that we're gonna get a chance to hear later?
Yeah, so it's actually something that we're gonna, or it's the first time that I'll be doing kind of a stripped down version of it. Is a song called "Unsaid." So it's as we've written and as we go through our kind of our process that we've talked a little bit about previously, is we've always had this underlying desire to try to do something a little more meaningful with some of our work. So as we were putting different songs together, this track, which is called Unsaid, just put just kind of came together with a feel of this was the one. And what I mean by that is this was the one that we could, had the feel that we wanted to turn into something we could spread a message about, right? Or try to create some sort of awareness. And so we wrote it about, something that, is a little bit unsaid in today's day and age, and that's addiction, and it's something that is an issue, that kind of plagues our country. Is definitely falls under the radar, especially given the past 18 months of what we've gone through with COVID. But it's something that affects millions and millions and millions of people, even just in our home front in the U.S. each day, and that's just basic addiction, whether it be drugs, alcohol, you name it. So, our goal with this track has been to, try to help brand some sort of awareness in the 3 minutes you can in a track, right? That people will listen to, because it's the question becomes, how do you create that message in a limited time frame, right? So, but we feel we did. We feel we captured that in kind of a story of, the lyrics of the song being, starting down, kind of a path of hopelessness, and then coming full circle into realizing that, at the end of the day, when anybody struggles with whatever they may struggle with, is we have the power to change it, right? Whether that be reaching out for help, whether that mean just recognizing it and acknowledging that you have an issue. So, it's, as I bring that all back to it, that's kind of what the mentality of the song is. But what we wanted to do is take that, use it as a platform, as I mentioned, to create awareness, and then do a little bit of good with it. And as you mentioned, it being a charity song, we've committed to working with the charity Shatterproof, who combats addiction on a daily basis. And if you do have a chance to look at shatterproof.org, is look at their mission and their goals and the good work they do in terms of this. But we'll take any of the earnings, the streaming royalties, whatever licenses it may go out for in the future, and donate all that to help the cause. So, it's kind of our way of hopefully being able to give as much as we can through our music, not just providing good tunes, but doing something on the back end. So, with that said, here's another shameless plug of everybody who's listening, is go stream that song on repeat and sleep well knowing that you are doing some good while you're doing it.
Wow, amazing. And I love that you picked such a general topic. Everybody has addictions. Everybody has them. More they have them. Everybody has addictions. So it's perfect that you wrote a song that everybody has felt. I mean, I love it.
Yeah, thank you. It's something that is, near and dear to us, as we've seen over the course of years of people suffer from various addictions, or have even lost loved ones to those. So, it definitely hits near and dear to home for us. And we've been very pleased with the reception it's got, and it continues to get. So, as you listen to the track, it continues to grow, it continues to blossom. And we hope, as our whole goal with not just this track but music in general, is the slow burn, right? We're not looking to write that track and be overnight sensations. Is we want to have, we want to do what we've done in the past and continue to do, is just stay true to our craft and continue to grow it on an organic basis. And that this track has fit certainly right into that.
Yes, yes, yes. And you picked such a perfect topic. I love it. And everybody, make sure to go stream it and show them the support. Hopefully, they'll give us in return, as just favor wise. But it's all still all about you. I just wanted to drop that little bit.
And thank you for asking about it. As we've talked, and it is something we are very passionate about. So thank you.
Yes, of course. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm sorry. Look. I know it's weird, but I'm a very weird person. Anyway, now I want to get one of the other big three I like to ask. Now I want to dive right into the life of your band. How does the whole method and process works whenever you guys work together to make a song? Like production, songwriting, I want to know all of it.
Yeah, so as I alluded to earlier, our process, we've kind of stayed true as we've gotten a little bit more steam behind the band Copperstone here, to how we started. So, Brian and I are constantly sending track ideas back and forth, whether it be through GarageBand or, what we're working with through Pro Tools in our home studios here. And we just kind of build off one another. And we've been doing it long enough that, it's very nice to have that partner who, kind of understands the direction that you want to go, right? So both in me to Brian and Brian to me. So we share the same interest styles and so on and so forth. So it gets pretty easy to build out a song, and fairly quickly too. So at the same time, we've been playing together long enough that one of us does something we don't like, it's no, and there's no hard feelings about it, right? So we're definitely adults and have checked our our egos at the door when it comes to that. And I think that's a piece of advice that I would offer to my younger self, as to anybody else as well who's might just be starting out in the music industry, is that music ego can be can be a little bit dangerous. Not necessarily dangerous actually, but a little bit more prohibitive. So take the time to learn from everybody and be influenced by everybody. There's always something to be learned from everybody, right? So that's we've been very fortunate to grow off one another through this process as well, as we look at it. So, but that's basically how we look at it. We have the same similar interests. We keep that steady interest. We build off at one another, and then we will get together a few times, yeah, as much as we can, but a few times a year to not only play together or play out, but just to catch up and so on and so forth. So that's really how our songs come together on the front end. On the back end is we do work with some old friends. Our debut EP vinyl was mixed and produced by a good friend of ours out in LA who operates J Fork Studios. So very fortunate just for friends and contacts throughout the year that we can kind of hit back up to help polish our work a little bit. But from there, that's kind of ties back into being that virtual collaboration, right? So we're talking from LA to Pennsylvania to Virginia. We're talking to Texas here, right? So it's the beauty of technology is we can take all of these things in local studios or studios we're comfortable working with, or even our home studios, depending on the complexity of the song, and have it polished up and mixed and get a solid radio ready track done, with minimal travel and minimal, I don't want to say effort. A lot of effort goes into it, but minimal complications, right?
Oh yes, yes, definitely, definitely. And just y'all's process, just listen, just being in the background, just listening in. It's like y'all's way. It's like you guys are understanding. You guys, you're understanding y'all's way. You guys always get what you guys need for the song. Even there's never really arguments and nothing really negotiables. It's like you guys are on point with everything. That's perfect. That's wonderful.
It's harmonious, I will say. So as we look at it in its current state, it works, and it continues to evolve. So with that said, is we're rock and roll at heart, but realize that we do have outside influences, and as I mentioned, being open to different genres and different musicians is as we've gotten back into the music industry, we've talked to other people who may be playing a different a different style, playing within a different genre or anything like that. And with some of the tracks we've got planned for release next year, I think you'll hear some of those other influences. So it's the beautiful thing about music, right? As it continues to evolve, you continue to grow as a person and as a musician. So it's, as I mentioned earlier, is never stop learning, right? Never stop taking in those influences.
Very, very, very true. Very, very true. And just being a songwriter myself, I've learned also influences are the ones that they're the ones that are most important. At least to me, they're very most important. So I'm definitely with you 100%. Yeah. But anyway, I just also wanted to just get this giant question out because I ask this to everybody, just to get a feel of who you are. How would you, overall as a group, describe your music?
Fun. And that's over what we aim to, what our overall goal is to have fun. So and that fun can be different for anybody. So as we talk about influences, we talk about pulling in different aspects from different acts that we like or listen to or have actually recently discovered, is how that translates to the instruments we use, right? So you'll see we don't use a whole lot of, I'd say, electronic instruments. It's good old fashioned, bass, guitar, and drums, which is the driving force behind our songs. So, I'd say we like to have fun, and we almost write to our performance level, if that makes sense. So, what I mean by that is the tracks we focus, in the beginning less on how is this going to sound coming through speakers, and more so how is this going to sound and how are we going to play this live. So that's why you hear in a lot of our songs, we try to incorporate guitar solos and everything because we like to play guitar solos, right? So we like to have fun doing it. So it's and that's what is fun on stage is you put yourself as a fan and look at a band through an audience's eyes. Is they want to see some technique, right? They want to see a little bit of change. They don't necessarily want to see the same, two chords being strummed over and over again. So, we try to make it as dynamic as possible with the overarching goal of this would be fun to play on stage.
Mhm. I like them. I love fun music. I love the it's very enjoyable to everybody that everybody can come in and join. I love it.
Yeah, and if you can't have fun, then it's time to find something else, right? So that's what it's all about. And whether it be music or any other business or industry or whatever it is, you got to have fun doing it. Otherwise the work suffers. You're not going to turn out a good product, and it's just going to be overall you're going to suffer. So that's been my personal mantra is in music is have fun with it, and the rest will just all fall into place.
Yes, yes. And if y'all don't like fun, then you better get out of here because everybody loves fun. Yeah. Now this is a really reflection question that I like to add in as well. Where do you see the future of the band going?
And that is a good question. I think, as we continue to evolve, looking back from our start, so we'll just talk strictly Copperstone. Copperstone is like probably a lot of other music was born out of the pandemic. So, from there, we were almost had our hands tied to say, we can record and have this outlet, this creative outlet to have our message heard, to have our songs heard. With in the short term there, that's about as far as it will go because everything's shut down, right? Is bars weren't open to play, clubs weren't open, concert venues weren't open, anything. So, as we've gotten back out into opening back up and turning the tide or turning the corner, I guess, on the pandemic, that those opportunities do exist. So, we've been have played out a little bit since then, but I really see the future of our band being more continuing to write music and produce music, but then I don't want to say tour, but small tours, if you will, right? So of playing out and just getting back to having even more fun, right? So
Yes, yes, very, very true. And I love that you have a clear vision for your band. I mean, that's very important to have is a clear vision and purpose and reason for your band.
absolutely, it's almost as if we treat this as it's not necessarily a business, but it's we have our goals and we have our mission statement, which is to have fun. So it's we try to stay true to it.
That's very good. I love you guys are being true. I love it. That's really incredible. And speaking of incredibleness, I know that we've been talking about you and your group. Um, Now I want to build this moral relationship with you. It's important that we do. So I'd like to give this a little time if you want to ask or say if you want to ask me anything. Because I would love to build this relationship because I love to have references, and I would also like to maybe I don't know, make see you tour or like see you again soon. So. I like to open this as if you want to ask or dare me anything.
Which thank you. I did have a couple questions in mind. So turning the table here is the first thing I got to know is the design of the logo, as we talked earlier. As I do love the design there. It's got such a beautiful simplicity to it that it's. I'd love to hear the story behind it.
Oh, good question, good question. Firstly, my friend made it. I originally made the original one. Too bad no one will see it though. But I originally made one, and he literally said, "Hey, I got a logo I made for your show." And I looked at it, and I was like, "Wow, like that was amazing!" And I just went for it and used it. But what impressed me the most though is the albums behind it. It's a music podcast, so it added. So he put all the albums, well, not all of them, a lot of rap albums, a lot of pop ones, like a lot of diversity, like a lot of albums in the background to kind of show the we are open with diversity and we're open to everyone. So that's what the logo kind of celebrates, and the logo itself, it's customizable and it's just universal.
Yeah, I love it. Is you need to we need to see it more. So here's your dare: is please post it everywhere, share it with the world.
Dude, it's everywhere. It's literally the profile. It's on Twitter. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook. It's on TikTok. It's everywhere that the podcast is. So you don't have to worry about that.
Perfect, perfect. Well, the other question I did have is I'd love to hear, as I ask a lot of the musicians we talk with, is where you see this industry going. What's your perspective? I alluded to it having changed so much over the years, and actually so much in such little time. Is what are your thoughts as a fellow musician on where this continues to evolve to?
Well, I've been really thinking about the future because, people, they want me to record music. They love the content that I have. But really, I want to grow more as a songwriter. I want to grow more. I want to learn more. I want to one day, like, I want to really take it to the next level and really improve more as a songwriter. Um, and as far as the podcast goes, I've always believed that God will give me a sign. That when the show is supposed to end, like Ellen, she's ending her talk show. Um, and that was God talking, like Ellen, it's time for you to end. It's time for this to end. So that's gonna be me. Like I'm gonna do the show until he tells me, "Hey, musically, it's time for you to stop. It's time for you to continue on with your future. And it's time for you to continue the next chapter in your life." And I strongly believe in doing it. And even if I were to do the show for a decade, for many years, like it's really no trouble to even do it because I love talking to musicians. I love to learn more. And every single interview that I've ever done since last year, I've learned more as a songwriter and I've developed more. So for you, that's my future, how it goes. Music wise, that is.
Well, I love it, and it echoes and parallels our message. It sounds like of just having fun, and it's interesting you say that, right, where you say it's no trouble, because in that passion that you have for it, or in that fun, you'll find that what other people may consider work, you consider to be easy. So
Yeah, yeah. You got it, you got it. Yeah. I'm loving this. Come on, give me some more.
well, I think expand upon on that a little bit more. So not just for for you, but where do you see the music industry as a whole continuing to change? I think probably as I allude to a lot, the changes, the increase in popularity of streaming services, and honestly, that's what musicians focus on now, almost nowadays, is to be heard. Is Do you see that continuing? Do you think us musicians as a whole will be almost forced to get kind of back to the roots of I don't want to say live shows, because that's always how musicians make it, right? So but putting more of an emphasis on things that aren't just hidden behind, an aggregator releasing content.
Oh, that's a really deep one. Ooh. Um, I literally have to go with the music industry is both a positive and, a negative kind of, future it's going for. Of course, positive because the next couple of years, it's going to be development. They're going to be probably building more music platforms and more musicians coming along. So, of course, the world will get to know more music. And at the same time, every musician that's alive right now, they start to develop more and they start to grow more as musicians. Of course, you have the negatives, though, which is, of course, competition. Yes. Controversy because TikTok will start to emerge and those artists will start to be signed. That's controversy. Social media will continue to develop, and that causes controversy, and that also causes nonsense as well too. Um, so really want to treat the music industry as a positive and a negative kind of thing. But overall, it's beneficial. It's beneficial to people when they join it, but it can also be a terrible and horrible thing if you don't take it lightly.
Yeah, I think that's well said. So, absolutely, it'll be interesting how it all evolves and how it's how everybody evolves with it, right? So the last thing I'll ask you is one more, I guess, somewhat deep question here is, what is a key piece of advice that you give to musicians that are just starting out?
Oh, good question. And I missed that. I used to ask that question too, but I kind of drifted away. Honestly, I would just tell them to just be yourselves and to do music because you want to. The same thing I say to songwriters, and the same thing because I also tutor. I say to the new tutors is that you do your talent because you want to. You don't do music because you have to or it's because of tradition. You do it because of you, and it's gonna reflect on your music whether you want to or not. Whether you want to or not, when you enter the music industry, your music reflects everything. So I'm just urging people to my advice is to really, and also really be creative too, to build your own self in music, to build your own personality and to build your own person so that people really know you. And to always keep developing, never be the one upper. Don't strive to be the best, strive to be the one you want to be. So those are the kind of things that I really want to tell musicians. If they don't take this in now, when they go into the music industry, if you don't take this advice now, you're gonna go into the industry, you're gonna think about those horrible, horrible things that you hear on TV, then you're gonna fail as an artist. And then you're gonna look back and think, oh damn, I should have listened. I should have listened. So that's really the best as I can give off the spot. Of course I can give more, but that's just the best. Right.
Well, I think you're exactly right. Is as musicians, you stay true to yourself, right? Is when you start expanding into, I don't want to say areas outside of your comfort zone, but different realms is when you start to lose why you got into it in the first place. So it's a fine line, right? We all always have to evolve and expand our musical influences, but at the same time, you do have to stay true to yourself. So I like that.
Oh yes, yes, that's very true. And no one wants a wannabe. That's so horrible that you would choose to be a wannabe. You don't want to copy someone else because that's controversy. Also, that's really dumb and ridiculous. So you really need to be your own person, and being your own person also frees you. When you're copying somebody, you don't get freedom. When you get to be your own self, also the piece of advice is to make sure you claim freedom as a musician, is to claim freedom and take matters into your own hands. And when trouble happens, you take care of your shit.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, 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 yes. And I strive everybody to take a listen and learn. Maybe we can learn a little something.
Expert advice. Expert advice. I like it.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Yes. All right. Did you have any more? Or are you pretty much empty?
No, I think that's a little bit of who we are. I would implore everybody listening to you can find us all on social medias. Everything's our handles Copperstone Band, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can also find all of our songs and everything on every streaming service, but also at copperstonemusic.com. And I would implore again everybody to listen to the songs as well as sign up for our newsletter at the on our website. We don't put out a whole lot, probably something quarterly, but it's more to come as we start ramping up to going into next year of looking at more live shows as well as future releases. We definitely have a lot of those planned to trickle out, starting with possibly something around the holidays. So more to come, but that's I would say make sure you follow us and stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks. That is so perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And honestly, thank you so much for coming by. It's been so amazing getting to meet you. I mean, you've been so amazing, and I wish nothing but from the best of you guys, and good luck with you guys' ventures. And you guys have my support, 100%. I'm behind you all the way.
Well, thank you, and thank you again for having us here to talk and to get to know you a little bit better as well. So, it's we relish the opportunity anytime it's presented, and really appreciate the support.
Yes, of course, of course. That's what I'm here for. That's what I provide. This is what I provide. And speaking of providing, would you like to give a little last words to the audience before we head out?
No, I think everything that we've said is it kind of covers it all. Once again, make sure to stay tuned for more things we've got in the works and enjoy it, right? Stay positive. So, it's the one thing that we can't, forget in all this is, staying positive and having fun with it all.
Yes, very, very true. Y'all listen, he's a very smart man. Um, Guys, I really should urge this. Very lately, we started monetizing our podcast. That means earning money. But also with earning money comes, more exciting things. So I really urge you guys to head to the link to my podcast, the Anchor one, not Spotify. Because supporting our show, and supporting, of course, the artist. As a plus, though, me, for every single dollar, any kind of money that you give us goes towards this show and towards making this platform the best it can be. I have tons and tons of ideas and plans for the show. Of course, it's not going to be as as small as now. I have lots and lots of plans and lots of things going on. I'm so stoked to start them. So keep on supporting the show. Just wanted to just point that out, so that you guys can start thinking about supporting us. And I'll be probably running a fundraiser maybe, or I don't know. I'm still thinking. But yes, I just wanted to just point that out. I'm sorry if I mentioned money kind of thing. I know you guys are pretty difficult, but any kind of support from the show is more appreciated. Yeah. Um, and keep on supporting Rapid Out. We are everywhere on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you name it. We're everywhere, even a Google search away. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to check out Copperstone down below in the links provided. Make sure to check out their showcase right after this segment. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. That's a wrap for tonight. Don't be losers and not check them out. I'm serious. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you guys want more Copper, make sure to check out the links. And he might be back soon, so keep an eye out. I know he can't confirm, but he confirms. Yep, by the sound he does. But I'll see you guys in the next one. I do. Have a great rest of y'all's night. Excuse me. Have a great rest of y'all's night. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great one. Peace. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight as we dove into a wonderful podcast episode. Now, in this following segment, you will get a chance to hear this artist's showcase because every artist that comes on the show requires to do a showcase. So, buckle up, get some popcorn, and enjoy the showcase. I hope you guys love it and check out the artist when you get a chance to. Hope you guys love it. Enjoy.